myself and a couple of colleagues in the States were writing a piece on pension fund governance. And we came across this really terrific paper by Fournier, actually, at Almeida, who was formerly a trade union pension officer and now runs an association for retired people in the States. And they described this as a comparison of DB and DC, but it's not. It's a comparison of how much it costs if you've got a big collective pension compared to how much it costs if you've got an individual pension. And this is what they did. They said, listen, let's take a group of teachers, they're women teachers actually, and let's project them through their lives, what their working life's going to be, so there's going to be some maternity leave and all the rest of it, what the average would be, and then they retire, or whatever the normal retirement age is, and we'll give them sensible benefits. If they die young, there'll be a life insurance policy for their for their dependents, and we will anticipate that we want to try and pay them $2,000 per month in their retirement, in real terms. And we've got two ways of doing this. Either they can be contributing to a great big collective scheme, or they can be doing this on their own. And if they do this on their own, of course, as they get old, they either need a very large pot because they don't know whether they're going to live to 100 or whether they're going to live to 70, or else they will have to buy an annuity, which is a very expensive way of being able to make it. How much more does it cost to have a collective or to have individual provision? And I thought their result was absolutely stunning. They reckoned it would cost 12.5% of your salary as a teacher in America to save for that pension if you did it collectively. It would cost you only 23% of your salary if you did it individually. So it would cost you 83% more if you do this on an individual money purchase scheme. Individual money purchase scheme is typically what it is that we are replacing our DB schemes with in this country right now. So the corollary of this is, if we could change that for the same price, we could get an expected pension for people that was 83% higher by designing the pension scheme well. And look, I'm new to this. I've only learned about this in the past year or so. I was simply stunned by the scale of that figure. And it seems to me that if that is right, as trade unionists, I know we spent a long time absolutely legitimately saying, hang on, we need to define to protect the DB schemes to the greatest that we can, because it's a tremendous benefit for people to have a DB scheme. But insofar as those DB schemes are closing and are under pressure to close, that we need to make sure that we don't let the baby go out with the bathwater in terms of the design of the DC schemes that we're going to replace them. Because, as I say, if we design these right, there is a huge uplift. I say it's 50% or more. Beth's study was 83%. I think there's some studies done in Holland that show similar sorts of figures. But it's a huge amount of additional benefit that we could be providing to people over the lifetime of pension. And we need to start to be thinking about this now. Now, why haven't people thought about this? Well, one of the reasons is, as you mentioned, Derek, is because of an issue about legality. That we have this very black and white system in the UK of either your money purchase or your DB. Derek's expecting this to come back to me on that one. Now, I was surprised at that, and one of the people that's been working with us at the RSS camp, Robin Ellison, is a pensions lawyer. And I said, look, will you write me a paper on this? And he wrote a paper which I've incorporated in my piece for Unions 21, which basically says, look, actually, you can have a collective DC scheme in the UK. It's perfectly possible to do that under the law. It's a little bit complicated. It's perfectly possible. And by the way, we should change the law to make it easier. But if you're terribly bothered, you could embarrassingly set up a pension scheme in Ireland, and then you would have all the benefits and so on and so forth. So the legal objection is, there's a bit of a legal objection, but it's one that he reckons one could readily overcome. So then you say, well, why don't we do this? Well, I think there are some issues. You know, this works better for big schemes than it works for small schemes. We would need to find a way in which we could bring small schemes together so that we had one big scheme. But gosh, that's something the trade unions could do. And the other thing is that it requires this thing that is that there's a degree of trust in this. I'm going to put my money into a pot, and I trust that the people that are looking after that pot have got my best interests at heart. And I know that if they do it that way, I will get a much bigger pension than I will if I get a statement every quarter coming out from some fund that's taking a huge fee and then turning it into an annuity. Who is it that we find that you trust and we trust will look after your pension? Well, I think that's where we started the meeting. It's the trade union. And actually, those trustee bodies on which many of you all sit, they seem to me to be the natural governance structure for doing this. And we need to start, I think, this discussion. There is a better, more effective way of giving people considerably better pension protection, even within DC. The design is hugely important. As I say, I started my journey on this through wanting to get a bunch of people in focus groups and citizens' juries to tell me how important it was that I was engaging with companies to make sure they were the right thing. You know what they said? They said, we'd love you to do that. We'd really love you to do that. But before you do that, can you make sure that my pension is giving me the best benefit that I possibly can for the price that I'm paying? And if that's what we think, and I think probably you're trade unionists, many of you, you'll know that's what the members are saying, because I wouldn't guess that the people I was speaking to are so terribly different from your members. I think if that is what we're saying, we need to start this debate and have some vision that the design that we're going to have these pension funds is one where we are completely confident that this is the best possible deal that we can get. And we'll make sure as well that when we invest the money that that is investment responsibly as well. So that's really what the piece says. We'll be continuing to work at the RSA over the next few months, and I'm really happy to take questions. As I say, I'm not an expert on this. I'm someone who is startled by some of the things that I've been reading over the past 18 months.